Well, it turns out that Representative Paulina Luna is demanding answers from Attorney General Pam Bondi for allegedly slow-walking the release of long-awaited files. This includes the infamous Jeffrey Epstein client list and records related to the assassination of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's a word we don't hear a lot recently. Now, Bondi confirmed last week during a Fox News interview that she is actively reviewing the Epstein-related documents along with other classified files on JFK and MLK. Quote, "It's sitting on my desk right now to review," Bondi said. "That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies." When asked whether she had uncovered any major scandals, Bondi remained cautious, responding, "Not yet." Now, in a separate interview with conservative host Benny Johnson, Bondi doubled down, teasing that there is more to come, but refusing to reveal the details. We're going to play that video for you in just a second here, which I think is vital. Again, this is from directly the Benny Johnson show. It was on the field at CPAC, I believe. Take a look.
Scaring bad guys is something Cash has talked about a lot, and you have when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein and the people who are like predators in this country. They've been given a pass, and a lot of Americans think these guys have got a pass for a long time and maybe even are still being protected right now. Where are we at with the Jeffrey Epstein list, the documents? And Cash has made a lot of public statements about this. Where are we at?
I was briefed on that yesterday. I can't talk about that publicly, but you know, President Trump has given a very strong directive, and that's going to be followed.
Wow.
Jim, she looks nervous. I don't know what you're thinking about this, but it didn't seem like someone who was confident that what they were doing was the right thing, or they were afraid on what they were doing. What is your take?
Well, I like Pam Bondi quite a bit. I think she's phenomenal so far. I guess she really hasn't done much, but I appreciate that she was a lawyer for Trump during one of his impeachments. She did a great job there. I'm kind of reserved. I'm holding back judgment. You know, she's been in office all of 2 or 3 weeks. She says it's on her desk, you know. So I don't know what the holdup is, but I'm glad that Paulina Luna is putting pressure on her because we're not forgetting about it this time. You know, we've been lied to so many times by these Republicans, you know, as much as the Democrats. And people aren't going to let it slide this time. So I think that was a great thing, and I think we'll see in the next couple weeks. I think I could see her take another week or two before she releases some of these items. But after that, then I think more pressure needs to be applied.
But who do you think would be on this, or why would it be being held up? Because you said she might take a week or two, and you've been in the journalistic industry for a long time. You know that good research does take time, and you don't want to make any accusations without first making sure. I mean, someone could have been on a list because they were a federal informant. Maybe they didn't commit a crime. Maybe you've made a deal back end to already give them protection despite the crime because they exposed the rest of the people on the list. But from your take, over 20 years, at Gateway, why would they be delaying this when they know it's not just Republicans? The people want to know, who are these pedophiles?
Right, exactly. And I guess we haven't heard too. Is she going to release the JFK files first, or the RFK files first, or MLK, or Epstein? So we're not really sure the order, how this goes. Are they all going to be released at the same time? Where are they going to be released? I mean, we all want to see these things. I think Trump's attorney, his other attorney,
Haba
was
Paulina
on.
Haba.
She was on last week, and she said that these are going to reveal. Basically, what she said was this is going to reveal that people who did these things and some who may still be in Washington D.C. So maybe she knows more than we know. That sounds pretty exciting to see if that's true.
Yeah, and I think, Michael, I mean, obviously, we mentioned with you getting pardoned. I'm really glad. I know Jim was laughing in the office there about, it's really good the FBI took a break from exposing the pedophiles to make sure that people like yourself, who were allegedly in or around the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Allegedly, I was there. He's innocent. He didn't do anything. But it is interesting that, the FBI prioritizes getting people for, yelling out a word or two in the rotunda when there are serial, again, assassins, pedophiles, rings. The only explanation for this, in my opinion, is the government wants to protect itself. So anything is a good deflection from actually uncovering the real people behind these, which is either them or our allies in the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, first off, the list is taking way too long to come out. Me personally, I mean, we've all been for years for talking about how we need to see the Jeffrey Epstein files. Giselle Maxwell went to jail, and they're like, okay, maybe it'll start to come then, and we didn't receive anything. And as far as January 6th, they took about, I've read an article where they took like 40% of the FBI to direct after us January 6ers, saying it's the worst thing since 9/11. I mean, I was there in January 6th. I don't have to say allegedly anymore. And I handed out cupcakes. I was literally.
I'm the friend. I'm the one telling you. I'm the one saying allegedly because he's never done any wrong. Listen to me. That's true.
But yeah, I handed out cupcakes. I called them freedom cakes, when I gave them. I even gave them to some of the Capitol Police. So
that was very generous of you.
It was. Yeah. They enjoyed them. Everybody enjoyed them.
He should be executed. That sounds like a crime against humanity. Cupcakes? It's worse than I thought. Well, let me ask you this. This is a serious question. So, Dan Bongino, new deputy director, right, of the FBI. I'm sure he's a friend of the Gateway Pundit. He's a friend of mine as well. Really, really good guy. He's in a little bit of a hot water from the base, from the MAGA base, which is are wanting to know about, how much can we trust this new version of people that are in the Trump administration versus the first time? Because we had a lot of traitors in the Trump administration, a lot of backstabbers and a lot of silent killers. And by the way, because if Dan sees this or gets into Dan, I'm not at all suggesting Dan is one of these people, but I think people are holding these new individuals to a higher standard because we've learned, right? Like we can't just let them get away with it. Now, when it comes to the release of this, Dan was in some hot water with the MAGA base because he had gone on to Tim Pool, I believe it was, right? Mike, I think it was Tim.
Yeah, it was Tim that he was on. Yeah.
Okay, so he was on Tim Pool's show, also excellent podcaster, and he was asked about the Epstein files. Like, hey, what do you know about this from being in the intelligence community? And he just kept saying, we know it's from some country in the Middle East. We just don't know what it is. And people were saying, look, we believe it's Mossad. I mean, are we going to find out this was our own government? Are we going to find out it's Mossad? Are people mistaken? Like, what's your best guess on what really the JFK, RFK, these files, what are we really going to find out who was behind these, right?
Well, I know with JFK and RFK, I interviewed Robert Kennedy Jr.
Oh, wow.
And he explained it for both his father and his uncle. He says that was the CIA. He firmly believes that, and I would take his word over any other investigator because he was, 10 or 11 or 9 or something, very impressionable age. His father gets shot. How horrible that would be, and I'm sure that he spent a lot of his life, looking at the details, and he's a very sharp guy. And so I think that's what we're going to find out more with those two cases, probably with MLK too. With Epstein, it sounds like it's Mossad. It sounds like it's probably CIA. I don't think the CIA was blind about this, but I really have no idea. We actually filed at Gateway Pundit to get the list of the people who are on the Epstein list, and they wouldn't give that to us either. So we actually were one of those outlets that did that.
Was it retracted, or did they just refuse to administer?
I think they said that we didn't have cause or something.
Yeah, because journalism is not really a big deal when you're investigating government corruption,
I
right?
don't know. And and we did find out that it was a John Doe who blocked us. So one of the, I guess, perps. I'm thinking. Okay, don't quote me on this, but it was a John Doe who was on this list who did not want it released, and that's how that was one of the reasons they told us.
It's so ridiculous. And I think but it does, I think the reason why Dan Bongino wouldn't say Mossad when it came to the Epstein files wasn't because he's I'm going to give him credit. I don't think he's paid by Israeli intelligence or he's like a traitor to the country. I think he actually knows what's going on. And when he said, look, this is very serious. He said, we know it's some country over there. We know the CIA was involved, right? There's nothing Mossad does that the CIA doesn't at least know about. And there's nothing the CIA does that Mossad doesn't know about. These are, even if our countries are allies, these are two intelligence agencies that, quite frankly, I think are at war with their own people. I don't think the deep state in any country is really looking on behalf of their own citizens. I think they're trying to push their own financial and government and power interests right now. But I think behind it, my opinion, I'll go to you too, but my opinion, I agree with you. I think Epstein, probably Mossad, JFK, probably CIA, and Martin Luther King Jr., that I would say CIA or FBI. I would put it, because one seems international. Do you have a similar take or not?
I'm following the same as you. I do believe with Epstein, Mossad, probably CIA involved in, across the board. And The problem too is the more that they're prolonging this release of the list, it gives us kind of distrust as American people. Why are you taking so long to actually produce this information? I mean, these people were in the wrong. Obviously, something was going on, especially with Epstein on the island, everything like that. So the more they make us wait, it kind of adds a little distrust to it. So I'm hoping that this is released soon so we can see who's entangled in it.
Yeah, and that being said, kind of transitioning topics here, we talked a little bit in the green room about just the massive distrust for the media. And obviously we have this story here as Rachel Maddow goes on an unhinged rant, attacks her own network, suggests MSNBC is racist for ousting 2 non-white hosts after Joy Reid's show is canceled. But before we talk about this amazing story, we're going to watch the video as well. I got to tell you guys about something important that you're not going to want to miss. So obviously, crypto's in the gutter. You go around and people are walking around, they're scared about their money. And right now, a lot of investors, they're going around and they're talking about they're not buying oil stocks. They're collecting mailbox money, actually, from oil royalties instead. Now, this isn't a true story. I actually am an oil baron. I get like a check for like $37. My family owns some oil fields out in Indiana. I know, I'm not going to spend it all in one place, Jim. Just be careful. Your Rolex will come in 27 years if I save all my payments. But I'm talking about passive income that you can have that shows up after a month. It's an investment that you can do that starts with as little as $25. When you go to ElijahOil.com, that's ElijahOil.com, you can discover how to tap into monthly royalty checks from America's most productive oil basin by actually investing in natural resources. Now, you don't need to be wealthy. You don't have to be connected. This is a very clear project that anyone can get involved in, but you do need a regular brokerage account. But if you go to ElijahOil.com, ElijahOil.com, and you want to expand your brokerage possibilities, seeing how bad the stock market has been, how seriously bad crypto has been, and you're like, I got to get something more financially stable. Well, oil is king in a world of gas cars, and I mean, Elon's done a lot of good for the world, but I ain't buying electric. Learn how you can start collecting your oil royalty checks every month and expand your investments at ElijahOil.com. Links on the screen right there and in the description. Make sure you check